Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. This is another episode of our MVP Spotlight series for Oracle Database at Azure. Today, we have a very special guest with us, Biju. He is one of our prestigious MVP, and I say that word because I myself read some of the books that he wrote. So it's an honor to have him as an MVP for Oracle Database at Azure.
Thank you.
Uh, I gave a little bit of introduction about yourself, but why don't you go into a bit of details, introducing yourself? What do you do? Experience with Oracle, your journey so far. We would love to understand all of that from you, Biju.
Thank you, Gauri. It is so good to be with you and on this panel here or with you on this MVP Spotlight. Thank you so much for having me and this opportunity here. My background, I started using Oracle database back in 1992-93 timeframe. So that was like fresh out of college. I joined a company at CLHP and then they gave me Oracle database and said, okay, go do your stuff. And so that's how I started with Oracle, and it's been Oracle database. I started as a developer, forms and PL SQL developer, and then into the database administration, then moved into Oracle e-business suite, then the Oracle Cloud, and now multi-cloud. So that was my journey last 30 years into the Oracle database. But my focus has been always Oracle and the Oracle database core. So that has been my focus. I started contributing and involving in the community back in 1997-98 timeframe. That's when nobody had the terminology of blog or social media, nothing
There
like
were
that.
books.
There were books at that time, yes. And so I was chatting with Sai earlier. So we had the DBAs. I mean, like there were like the great authors and experts like Carrie Millsap, Jonathan Lewis, Thomas Kite, and those were like my the go-to guys and like the inspiration at that time, right? I mean, we know that, I mean, like they know so much, and then they share the information through books and conferences and stuff like that. So when I was put into a performance tuning job, I mean, I didn't know how to do my stuff, but because I figured it out, I wrote some scripts and all of that stuff. So I wanted to make that available for my the DBAs who are having the same struggle, who wants to do the performance tuning. So I started sharing those scripts in a GeoCities website back in 1997-98 timeframe. That's when I had a free website there, so people can use the scripts that I developed. So that's why I started sharing my content in there. Then going into book writing was, I would say, like that is a good coincidence, and I would say I was in the right place at the right time, probably. I published an article in Oracle magazine, and that's the time when Oracle 8i database came out, and then I was interested in the log miner feature of that, and then I wrote about that in Oracle magazine. Then I get a call from Cybex. I'm like, do you want to write a book? Because we are going to release the Oracle certification books. So the Cybex didn't have any Oracle certification before that, so they were going to get into the Oracle certification and then wanted to write. And they saw that, I mean, I was certified in Oracle 7.3 Oracle database. I was one of the first 500 to get certified in Oracle. So they thought, I mean, like, yeah, I published in Oracle magazine. I have done the certification and completed it as one of the first 500. I still have that jacket, the Oracle certification jacket. It's a really good leather jacket.
I see. I mean, from Oracle 7 to Oracle 26 AI,
26
I mean,
AI,
that's
yeah,
an
I'm old.
inspiration journey you had, sir. And so heartwarming to hear all of that. You talked about, how you started giving back to the community, but from 97 to until today, which is almost 29 years, what kept you going, giving back to the community?
So I'm learning, so I just wanted to give back. And then when I started participating in conferences and then attending conferences, I mean, like my first conference session was in 2008 at a Collaborate, and then 2009 in Oracle open world at that time. So that's how I started presenting in conferences. I mean, like those were like times, like very nervous times at that time when presenting. So that got me into like a different perspective in giving back to the community, because the
Right.
network really changed my view of like the networking and then sharing knowledge.
Yeah.
And then that was the different and the community where you meet people and sharing your problems or solutions or the ideas. I mean, like that is a different perspective. I mean, you won't get that from even from a webinar. I mean, you won't get it. I mean, you want that interaction after your session, after your talk, or even if you're not talking. I mean, just being there and then talking to the people who know their stuff, right? I mean, not everybody is expert in every field, right? So
Yeah, that's the power of being in person
being in
versus,
person,
you know, online. Definitely, it's more impactful to
correct,
present
yeah.
in conferences. When you are present there, you have a live audience.
Yeah. So the my objective, and then the in 1998 or 97, whenever I started sharing in the community the scripts and the script on a website, I mean, like the same passion and the same objective still exist. I mean, like that hasn't changed. That motive hasn't changed. So I'm happy about that. I haven't changed that. Only thing is the medium has changed. I mean, now I use social media like Twitter and LinkedIn. I use that, and then I have a website, blog website, and
Yes,
stuff like that.
I've
So
seen
the
that.
medium has changed a little bit, but the objective and the content or whatever I share is still going, which I am really proud of, because I mean I haven't stopped it, right? So which
That's inspirational too.
yeah,
You
it's
know,
good.
all of us also. I personally know some of the friends who have actually used your books to pass the Oracle certification. So definitely, you know, worth spending this time with you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Coming back to, you know, Oracle database at Azure, one of its kind, you know, two clouds coming together to, you know, offer the best of both clouds to our customers. How did you get interested in that? How did you know, start working on? I read recently the EBS to Oracle database at Azure migration path. How did you start, you know, ramping up yourself, or how did you start contributing there?
Yeah, so it's all started with the work demands and what the customer want, right? So back, I mean, even before 2000, before I joined Data Intensity, like I had the opportunity to work with a customer where their cloud first platform was Azure, and then help them migrate to Azure database. I mean, that is one of the reasons why I joined Data Intensity back in 2019. Where the focus was Azure for data intensity at that time. So we had a program where Data Intensity had a program at that time where we will help customers migrate to their cloud choice. I mean, like whether it is Azure, AWS, and OCI was there. I mean, like OCI Gen 1 was not ready for prime customers, so Azure was our focus. So that's how it all started there. Then when database at Azure came, I mean, like that is really a win-win for Oracle and Microsoft, because you get to use the platform as a service. I mean, like where you don't have to install, you don't have to manage a lot of stuff, you don't have to configure your backups and stuff. Everything is platform as a service available within Azure, and you also get the benefit of the Oracle licensing metrics and all of the, so you get the tools, the licensing, the cost benefit, the consolidation benefit, all of that available natively in Azure is a win-win. So that's how we started in the Azure space. I mean, like because of the customer demand, and I know Oracle and Microsoft saw the customer demand, and that's why the partnership exists. I mean, even before database at Azure, the network link, like the connectivity link was established between the data centers. So
It had been there
yeah, since
for quite
2009,
some time
quite
now,
some
but
time, yeah.
this came into the picture to offer almost on-prem type of latency, high performance, and
Right.
throughput. So yeah, I mean, all goodness of both the clouds that we could combine in a product, we did that.
Yep.
Do you have any customer story or any insights to share with us?
Customer stories, I mean, like I would say we have migrated a lot of Oracle customers to Oracle e-business suite customers to OCI, and let me take a step back. I mean, we at Data Intensity, we are experts in Oracle managed services. Like we manage Oracle E-Business Suite, PeopleSoft, JD Edwards, and we do the migration, upgrades, and the day-to-day operations support that we do. We also do the Oracle Cloud, the Fusion Cloud, and all of that stuff. So we focus on the Oracle solutions, the Oracle products, but cloud agnostic. So we can support. So we can support Oracle workloads, Oracle products in OCI, Azure, AWS, and GCP. Any cloud. I mean, we do that. So wherever the customer preference, that's where we do. So when there are a lot of customers, I would say, that was one of my blog recently. You mentioned like the EBS blog, right? I will tell that story itself here since you asked. So that customer is on premises, a large customer. They are running Oracle E-Business Suite, and when you say Oracle E-Business Suite, it's just not one application, one database, right? Oracle E-Business Suite itself has like multiple environments, like development, project, and their production support, all of those environments. Then it is like a gravity center, like because it has to have all the satellite applications. Like you need to have a tax application, you need to have a barcode or things like scanner application, and there are like several satellite applications around E-Business Suite. I mean, they have to be together. So when you are talking about E-Business Suite, I mean, like, it's just not one application. It's like usually like 4 minimum, like it could be up to 10, up to 12 when you include all the reporting, the business intelligence and all of that, I mean, because they all go together, right? So when you have, when you're talking about like 20, 30 databases easily between production and non-production, then you have DR. So you are running that on multiple VMs or usually physical servers, because that was being taught in the beginning, like Oracle may not work, you will not get the right performance when you are virtualized on-prem, right? You want to be on physical servers. So people usually deploy Oracle on physical servers. They build high availability using RAC, real application clusters. So that gives you, like, even if one of your physical servers goes down, you have the other physical server available, so you can continue your business. So that is the RAC is there. Then you have data guard for copying the database from one location to other. So those are the core structures or core structures for Oracle database, right? So you need that, the high availability and the business continuity. So when that's what every customer is used to, I mean, they don't want to have any compromise on that. So when you are talking to the customer of migrating that critical database, their mission critical database, to the cloud, they are looking for those features. So there are some restrictions, right? I mean, you cannot have real application clusters in a non-Oracle cloud, which means, I mean, when you're running natively in Azure, AWS, or GCP, you cannot have the RAC feature, so that high availability is gone. And there is an argument in the Oracle expert community that, I mean, RAC is probably not needed in the cloud because the VM itself is redundant and there is high availability built in behind the VM.
The cloud is built for high availability, so you don't need to implement it.
So there is no need for RAC. So that is there. But still, like when you are used to having RAC, I mean, when you are paying for the RAC, I mean, you want to use that in the cloud. People think that, I mean, why do I diminish my availability or the feature thing, like when you go to a better platform. So they want RAC. I mean, like if they are using RAC, they want RAC. If they are using Exadata on-prem, they want Exadata in the cloud.
As they say, when you move to cloud, you have to not only change your applications, but also the way you think, the overall architecture. So, as I've been alluding to, maybe, cloud is already built for high availability. With we offer for ODA, we offer, MA Platinum standard. So you might not, you don't need that, and all the other things that you mentioned, data guard. We have all sorts of integrations available with Oracle Database at Azure. You have Golden Gate, you have Azure Key Vault. So we are enterprise ready with our security posture in place.
Exactly. So that is the beauty of database at Azure, right? So where I was going is, so you have that. I mean, like when you want to migrate an on-prem database to Microsoft Azure, for example, you have to consider all of that. I'm talking about not database at Azure, Azure native VM.
Natively.
So there is no rack available. Then there is also licensing is different on native VM where you pretty much lose half of that. So we at Data Intensity came up with a program called TCOT, I mean Total Cost of Ownership Transformation, where we look at your current workload, because most of the customers have higher licensing because they have like some shelfware available because they usually buy more than they need, right?
Yeah.
So we will analyze their current workload and determine like what is the right CPU needed in the cloud, because Azure has like better CPU, faster CPUs than on-prem. So that is one thing. And we also have a service where we do the license review, the effective license position. Basically, we will review your contract and then look at what you are using and then determine the effective license position. Then we merge the architecture and license together and then tell you like, okay, how many licenses you need to run the database on Azure.
Yeah.
Sometimes, I mean, like the customer might have enough licenses. Sometimes they may have to acquire a little bit more licenses. So that is there. Because of this license rule, right? The authorized cloud license rule is different. Whereas with OCI or OCI sitting inside Azure, which is database at Azure, you don't have that licensing penalty. So it becomes like much better for the customers to migrate without that licensing penalty. Then on top of that, they get the performance because you are running on an Exadata-based system.
Yeah.
Like you have Exadata. Even if you go on autonomous database, that's also running Exadata behind the scene. So you don't really need as many CPUs as you were using on-prem. You need much less capacity here because there is CPU on the storage layer in the engineered system. It's doing half of the work for you. Yeah. So you need very less CPU when you are consolidating them. So it is a win-win for the customer. They can reduce the number of CPU. Even if they have multiple contracts and bring your own license model, they can probably cancel some of the contracts because they don't need that many CPUs. I mean, that's what we find during our analysis, and we recommend our customer, like you probably don't need this custom. And with database at Azure, there is also an option of bring your own license or license included model. Yeah. Sometimes like if you don't have a good deal last year, or maybe you already canceled your Oracle support for some reason because you were planning to move away from Oracle. Some customers are like that. I mean, they don't have Oracle support. Maybe this is an opportunity for them to get into database at Azure and then move into a license included model where they don't have to deal with the Oracle contracts and license management and all of that stuff. So
and you can also choose based on your own needs, right? You have multiple DB offerings. Every offering that's out there from Oracle is supported on Azure today. Yeah. So
that's a very good point, because some of the other multi-clouds, I mean, like they don't have the base database service, and we are not talking about all enterprise like Fortune 500 companies here. Like there are a lot of SMB companies that we support, and for them the Exadata dedicated may be an overkill because they don't have that much Oracle workload. Maybe they are running an Oracle e-business suite or a PeopleSoft system, which might need like 20 CPUs or something like that, and then a few terabyte of storage. So for them, the base database service is all they need, and having that base database service available in Azure natively is a big plus for the smaller customers.
Absolutely. So our goal is to support all of our customers when we design this product. All the goodness that you just shared, how we kept in mind all customers, right from SMC to our mission critical, workload customers. So we tried doing that, but great to hear this as a testimony from someone who is so active in the community. So thanks for sharing that. Yeah. Excuse me. Moving on, how do you see? I mean, I would love, as you shared some of the feedback, but would love to understand, where the customers are still seeing a bit of a pain with Oracle Database at Azure, because you are helping us shape up the future of the product. So, where are some areas we could still do some improvement on?
One thing is on the transaction phase. I mean, like where in the beginning we need to work with both Oracle and Azure teams to get the. I mean, if it is Exadata.
that was some of the great feedback, and I think this is what I would be wanting to head this series to, hearing from what our customers are saying, because you are championing, you are becoming the voice of the product group or the product itself in the community. So would love to understand what are some of the pain points.
Yeah, pain points, I would say, still, I mean, it is easy to provision Oracle database at Azure through the Azure portal, so it is there. But having some more insights in Azure, in the Azure Monitor, some of the troubleshooting. I know you're working on that. I mean, I think that'll really help the Azure customers and Azure admins, where they can see some of the insights and observability, and where the problem is troubleshooting, because it's just not the migration, right? Migration is easy. You have tools. You have tools on the Azure side and the Oracle side to do the migration, the configuration. There are landing zones available. So all of that is set up. I mean, like, it is easy to do the migration, and the day one is fine. So the day two operations, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, yeah. What are the pain points? I mean, I think that's where you should start looking into that, because we have customers on database at Azure. So maybe that should be the focus on, like, the observability and monitoring and things like that.
Thanks for sharing. We absolutely, though I can't share, we are definitely working on all of that, which you will be seeing in the very near future.
That's really good, right? Because I have heard, I know what is coming, I mean, because it is like under NDA, we cannot discuss here. But I mean, being invited and being part of the MVP program gave me that opportunity to, like, meet you in person and then spend time with you and your team.
Oh, it's our honor actually to have people like you in the community, becoming, championing our product in the community. What would you, you have such a large experience on not only Oracle but Azure. You are leading some of the biggest migrations out there. What would be your advice to some of our, aspiring MVPs? Where should they focus? How should they start contributing? What were the channels available for you to contribute? What actually helped you?
So the MVP program channels, contribution channels, I would say, when I started, I mean, like, as I said, I mean, there was not blog, nothing, right? I mean, so I started not for the program. I started for the community. I mean, that's how I started. But now, I mean, like, there are a lot of channels, opportunities, there's social media. I mean, like, everybody is in social media. You can start an account in Twitter or X or Blue Sky or Instagram. So there are a lot of opportunities there. I can write a blog, or the other area where I would say, like, people can start helping is in the forums, because if you are stuck, I mean, like, somebody is stuck, I mean, they have a question, they post in, like, in an Azure forum or an Oracle forum, where people can start helping in that forum. Like, I mean, this is how I have seen this problem. Try this. I mean, like, this might solve your problem. So that the forums are a good one. And then if you are if you want to, like, if you are bold enough and then no stage fear, or if you want to get out of the stage fear, maybe you can start presenting in the conferences, because all the conferences are looking for new speakers.
Absolutely. That's, I think, a very, very impactful place, because you meet people in person.
Right, in person.
I would just add to that, we have our tech community blogs. You could just start contributing on tech community. You could write blog post, or you can even have a smaller discussion. There are various options to contribute on tech community.
Available outside Microsoft also? Because I've seen, I followed a few tech community blogs.
Needs few approvals, but you do have that as a channel available.
Okay, nice.
So definitely, and one thing that one feature or one integration that Oracle Database offers at Azure, which you really like, which you think is the most powerful feature that we have.
Yeah, the powerful feature, I would say, is still the thought of, like, having the database sit inside the Azure data center, like, I mean, where you are taking away the concern of the latency. That's gone. I mean, like, that is very powerful for the applications, and it also opens up the Oracle database. I mean, it's a source of truth. Every pretty much if you take the Fortune 500 companies, 96% of them have an Oracle database running. I mean, they are mission critical data in Oracle database. So having that database available next to your application ecosystem like the AI agents and Copilot and Teams and Microsoft Fabric, Microsoft, what is that one?
One Lake.
One Lake. One Lake, right? Yeah, I'm still learning all of that stuff,
That's
right?
Fine.
So I mean, database being available in the same network, sitting next on for these products to consume the Oracle data, to consume the Oracle database information, and then bring and analyze the data, bring the insights to the customers is huge. I mean, that's huge. I mean, that's really exciting, and I really want to like get into the Azure AI space and then start using the Oracle data to see like how AI can learn from the data available in the Oracle database. If you look at the latest studies, even though 96% of the enterprise data is sitting in Oracle database, people are not using that data for AI learning or AI insights, right? Because of the security concern. You don't want to have your AI agents connect directly to the database. So this ecosystem and having your BI publisher and other stuff in the middle, and your data Azure Fabric in the middle, I mean, that helps the security and having access to the Oracle database. Yeah. So that's really exciting.
With Azure AI Stack, we would definitely love to debunk all of the security myths that are out there in the community. We definitely have tools and guardrails in place to protect your data while also modernizing your applications. It was an honor to meet you and spend time with you, Biju, here. I'm hoping you are liking and what's you're hearing in MVP Summit, how things have been going for Oracle Database at Azure. As a leaving thought, if you want to just share one piece of advice for anyone in one line, what would that be?
One line, I would say, don't be scared of thinking in the multi-cloud world. I mean, like multi-cloud is nothing new. I mean, like it's been there for a long time, and then every customer need to be looking at what is the best service available in each cloud, right? And utilize the best service from each cloud. I mean, that is what multi-cloud is facilitating. So that is there. And I would say, like going forward, like when the customer is looking at, maybe they look at the data fabric and where the data is coming from. I mean, which cloud may be hidden from the customer going forward, right? Because the customer is looking at the data fabric, and then you have mechanism behind the scene with okay, this is sitting in database at Azure, this data is sitting in your Azure data ecosystem, whatever that is.
Doesn't matter where it is coming from. It's
so
one source.
I see like we will get to that level in the next couple of years.
And I said it was my last question, but I just have one more. Based on your experience, any bold prediction for next 2 to 3 years you see, especially for our product? Any bold prediction?
I think the multi-cloud thing will go away in the sense that, I mean, like we will not be using the multi-cloud because multi-cloud will be natural in the next 2-3 years, and then the cloud layer will start disappearing, and we will only look at the data layer is what I'm thinking. I mean, that's what I'm thinking when I look at the data fabric. You don't have to worry about like where your data is residing. The cloud services can position the data at the right service for you, and the licensing. I think that'll be the.
Let's see how the future unfolds. But yeah, thank you so much for your time
thank
today,
you.
and
so
thank
much.
you everyone for watching this. We'll be back with another Spotlight series episode for you soon. Thank you.